I think that the way Canada is structured as in its federalist architecture, you've got incredible latitude for autonomy. I think Alberta has every opportunity, no matter what happens with the vote in the fall, to become the Monaco of North America. And there are a dozen steps we could take that are today fully within our power to take to create that level of economic autonomy. I for one, would love to see us continue to cut the corporate tax down to 5 and maybe lower to create a magnet for global capital into the world's largest democratic deposit of energy, oil and gas. We are 5 million people with more wealth, more natural wealth than any other democracy on the planet. We're far wealthier than Qatar. We produce the same amount of oil and gas. We're wealthier than Norway. We've got trillions and trillions of dollars of wealth. We have it within our ability right now, given the current federal structure, to cut our taxes, cut our red tape, significantly pursue with the courts, knowing that there are odds on how we pursue it, but on our own agenda, to control for immigration more effectively, to control for the judiciary more effectively, and to begin to win, step by step on 5 or 6 of the major things that we were starting to pursue. I mean, I worked on the Alberta pension plan file earnestly, and we got that put out there. And that's an extraordinary sort of story about how Alberta has created the lion's share of the wealth in the country on a per capita basis that's funded the entire CPPIP program for the nation. I think there are dozens of things that we're going to be able to do. I think that this vote is important because I think that a democratic way of representing the frustration people have with what's failing federally is critical. And I think that, like Ezra said, I think that actually just in my conversations, a lot of people that don't show up in the polls are going to vote to send a message, even though they don't intend. And Stock, I bet you would find this when you talk with some of the people in your circle too. I've got a lot of friends that have said, look, I agree with you, David, on the basic idea of us pursuing as much autonomy as we can within the federal structure and as a provincial government. And I back the premier with you 100%. I think she's doing the right thing. But let me tell you this privately, quietly, I'd never say this out loud at work. Me and everyone I know are definitely voting. When that thing comes down, we're definitely voting. Let's go. And then we'll have the conversation, debate. And these weird card tricks by guys like Matt Genero, or the reaction you get from guys that I like going for coffee with, like Andrew Coyne and others that think different than I do. This overwrought, crazy, antagonistic, maple MAGA BS that comes at anybody that's starting to question the economic decline and the cultural decline and the rise of violence across the country in the last decade of completely failed economic and security policies by the Liberal government. Anyone that's questioning that, and all the frustration for the people that don't have the ability to sort of operate in global circles, saying, I've had it with seeing my wallet cut in half by people that are corrupt. That's expressing itself, and that will express itself in the independence debate and in the vote that takes place. But what's currently going on and what you're seeing in the airwaves that we're seeing coming out, with moves like this, it's ginning up a situation where I think people are, if they were surprised by Brexit, I think they're going to be very surprised by Wexit. And I'm a federalist, and I agree with Stock. I think that our priority moves are the moves that are completely within our power today. I think there's a lot of reasons for us to do that, but I think that people are going to be surprised by what happens if we continue to go down this track right now.
You're exactly right to refer to Brexit, and it also reminds me of, I don't know if you ever saw that speech that Michael Moore gave in Detroit in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, where he talked about, he was the first Democrat to realize what was about to happen, that working class people finally had an option in Donald Trump, and that Trump may be over the top and he might be a bit much, but he would be able to send a message they would never forget. Brexit was the same way. And I think the curse of the pro-Canada side is they just can't help themselves. Even our mutual friend Jason Kenney He can't help himself. He talks about yahoos or blowhards, or he just can't help with the personal invective, which is that kind of stuff. It leaves a mark because it confirms the entire thesis that Central Canada isn't, it's not just the system isn't working, it's not working on purpose. There's a malice there. Like, did Mark Carney just accidentally undo Alberta, or was it on purpose? When you match it with a barrage of insults, people say, oh yeah, they actually hate us. Brexit, the sneer, there was a classism in the Remain side. Oh, you stupid, what they had a special insult for white working class, gammon. It's a British way of saying ham. They were basically calling people like a slab of bacon. Oh, yeah. You gammon. You don't know what's good for you. And I think it's that sneering condescension. You see it in about 90% of anti-separatist commentary online. Andrew Coyne's a perfect, he's I think patient zero for this sneering approach. And I think, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's still 8 months away, but if you have the Stefan Dion's and the Rosemary Bartons and even Jason Kenney, he can't help himself sometimes. It reminds me of when he was criticizing the truckers. You know what? On referendum day, everyone gets just one vote. And I think 1 million Albertans are going to send a message that Mark Carney will never forget. And he's going to prick them into it.
From your lips to God's ears, Ezra.